Greetings, everyone. My name is Mirna, and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, we want to welcome you to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather to see the lectures and interviews organized by Mindalia TV. Today, with us, we have the honor to have Amy Akers. Amy works with Akashic Records, healing, spirituality, and she is going to talk about finding your soul's purpose. Before starting with Amy, there is a couple things that I want to tell you that if you want to help other people like you to have access to the knowledge, the information that we share in our channel, you can do a couple of very, very good deeds just by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, or leaving us a positive comment down below. You help us through this platform reach as many people in the world as possible. Also, while we are live streaming, we have the chat, the active chat on the side of the screen. Through there, you're going to be able to ask questions to Amy. And at the end of her talk, she will be kind and answer those questions. Without further ado, I'm going to be leaving you with Amy. Amy?
Hi, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited. It's such a wonderful opportunity. A lot of the work that I'm honored to do is to be able to help individuals align with their truth and their soul purpose, which actually go hand in hand. A lot of the work that I have developed and created as to how I teach and how I connect with clients, students, the people that come my way, it is based on the experience that I created throughout my own life experience. So there were a lot of things that I was experiencing early on as a child that taught me about the gifts that I had, although I did not know I had any spiritual gifts or that I was sensitive to energy. I had no understanding of all of that until shortly before I had my third child. And a lot of that is pretty common because having a child can, alter your hormones and increase them, which actually increases your sensitivity to the awareness of all that you're feeling and experiencing, and it intensifies things. A big part of learning about your soul's purpose that makes it easier is to learn about what feels right to you and what is your truth. And in honoring your truth, you start to purge anything that no longer serves you. You start to realize that there are many aspects in life that don't feel right to you. And the thing about it is that your divine ability to channel energy, whether you're aware of it or not, is happening, and your intuition is guiding you. Your team of spirits is guiding you. And I am blessed and honored to have agreed to come into this world to communicate with the Archangels, with the creators, God and Gaia. And through honoring that and listening to it, even though it was very hard and challenging, I was able to see really what wasn't working about the life I was living. And part of that for me, which it is different for everyone, but part of that for me is the fact that I was always stuck in my own thoughts, repeated thoughts over and over and over. Or as an empath, very sensitive to energy, a very nervous person. And it came to a point where my anxiety was so severe that I had to choose to figure out the best way to help myself. Only what felt truest to me was only everything natural and organic. So a lot of my opening up and learning had to do with trusting myself. And that is what many go through. Anxiety is on different levels for many. Some do not feel anxiety in their awakening process to learning their purpose. Some experience past pain or relive trauma. They can also feel energy, but not always recognize it by sight or in their mind as, you know, a person or a place or something that triggers a memory for them. But when it comes on as stress, that's usually an indicator to pay attention to your body and the signals that your body is giving you. So we all have different ways of listening and being tuned into what we feel. And some people feel very overwhelmed by anxiety or stress, and especially overwhelmed by fears, that they feel that life is chaotic and that it is so out of control. So my goal when I work with anyone, whether they are a student or a client or someone that I've connected to as a friend, is to be able to support them in their path and at their comfort, be able to help them to understand what they interpret and what they are experiencing in life that's causing either chaos or stress or fear or anxiety. The next thing that I love to do is to be able to teach them how to connect in with their team or how to connect in with their heart center and to ground themselves, to get grounded and connected into Mother Earth Gaia. It's a very important part of the process of what I do. And that awareness of Earth consciousness is a heavy part of what I do. So when someone comes to me and tells me, I want to know my purpose, I instantly connect into them. And I do let them know that I am not going to tell them their purpose. I am going to work in co-creation with the creators and with that individual's team, their guides, their angels, their highest guides, along with my team. And I'm going to help them to connect with their truths, because living our truth is the anchor that we need to stay grounded in this life. When we live limited by falsehoods or belief systems that others have forced on us or that we've been taught along the way, then we limit ourselves from feeling who we really are and remembering who we really are. And that is what we're all here to do on Earth at this time during ascension and as we move into the golden age of Gaia. The next thing that I do is I take the time to read my clients' Akashic records and soul contract. There is a lot of information about soul contracts and what we come here and agree to, but there is also so much beautiful information available to us. For example, someone could be connecting to the fact that they don't feel they should be, for example, going to school somewhere or working a job that doesn't feel right to them, but they hold off on making changes for themselves because they're worried about either having lack of money or disappointing someone or going against what they were expected to do. Okay, soul contracts kind of help them align. And the other thing with soul contracts is it's really, really important to understand that nothing has to be a quick rush decision. So when I work with someone, I make sure that they understand that they don't have to make changes right now and give up their job or stop going to school or relocate somewhere. It's really important that they trust divine timing, because once they make that connection with their path and they open up to it and start trusting it, then that allows them to fall right into synchronicity with what needs to be done and the next steps to take to be able to move forward in life. A lot of, the blocks and limitations that we have to do with how we were raised or brought up depending on culture, religion, and belief systems that were taught to us. And so if we don't listen to that calling of honoring what we're connecting into, the thoughts that we have about making changes for ourselves, then we say basically that we're going to stay on a different path. Okay. And it's very empowering to connect to what really is the best direction to head in, and who am I really? A part of what I learned from my soul contract and Akashic records was the lifetimes that I had lived and all that I had experienced. And so much of it made sense as to what I had experienced in this lifetime, which was, different types of abuse, neglect, abandonment, struggle in relationships, struggle in the relationship I have with myself. And a lot of that I had to work through in order to be able to go into a different frequency of my higher vibration. So step by step, and every choice I made, every connection I felt, I gravitated into another level of love for myself. And that is something that I love to help people do. The hard part about it is being able to admit truths that sometimes we're afraid to say, or that feel like it's something bad, when we're judging ourselves, instead of looking at the facts and connecting to the truth and then healing emotionally. That's really one of the best tools that I can give someone, is to be able to figure out how to honor who they are, instead of living in a grind of, going to work, going to school, being a parent, or taking care of someone, whether, it's a loved one or the income that you're providing for yourself. Being able to find that balance in life, that divine balance, which helps you to continue to honor who you really are. It's just really hard sometimes for people to see that, because, it really takes a lot of working through the beliefs that you've held on to. So a part of working through that is actually learning what your core beliefs are. What are the things that you believe versus what you were taught or forced to believe? Okay. Now it's really important to understand that, our parents, when they are taking care of us and others are influencing what we learn and what we believe, everyone does the best that they know how. There's no judgment on any of that. But there comes a time when we begin to think for ourselves and tap into, that doesn't feel right to me. And maybe that's the way that that person believes, but I don't connect with that. So when that happens, that means that you purge it. When you make that mental connection to that this doesn't work for me, what does work for me is ... Okay? So many times that is the process of how someone honors their purpose, because in sifting through any minutia or anything that you've held on to because of someone else's expectations, you learn to let go and find peace within who you are by kind of digging through it, purging, allowing yourself to emotionally heal, and then being able to kind of establish, what is your own belief? What do you want to do in life, and what do you want to do with your energy and your time here on Earth? I believe, after learning about the Akashic records and learning about my soul's lifetimes and many others, that, at this divine time of Gaia consciousness, where we are stepping into new Earth, that we are all here to learn, to remember who we are, so that we can evolve in life and live many new lifetimes within this one life. I hope that makes sense, because it's a really important experience to acknowledge. And once you acknowledge something and you connect with it, you instantly have intuition to tell you that it's either your truth or it doesn't make sense to you. And when you connect with something, it downloads in your belief system, and you then start living your life differently because of that new belief. Okay, so when we create new beliefs in place of old beliefs, that's another way that we purge within our soul DNA and our cellular DNA, which is actually a really beautiful process. It just doesn't always feel like that for everyone. But for me personally, experiencing purging has been a journey, because, you know, I grew up thinking that it was normal to get sinus infections. It was normal that a couple times a year I would get some type of throat virus or some type of severe cold constantly, and that it was normal that I would have a hard time moving on from that or feeling lethargic and sick, when actually those are all divine symptoms of our cellular regeneration happening. And the process that we go through to experience that is huge purging from within our cavities, our sinus cavities. And it can get pretty intense, and you can have a throat virus or a stomach virus, and that will mean that you're purging from deep within your bones, which is a pretty amazing experience to go through. And when you acknowledge that you're not actually sick, that means that you've kind of stepped into a new way of living, and you understand that you're not sick, your body is purging. It's a very healing and cathartic thought process to understand and establish for yourself, but it takes time and experience to go through it and to be able to connect to that truth of, you know, I don't really feel sick, but I seem to be purging a lot. I seem to be blowing my nose a lot, or I seem to have a cold, but I don't really feel the way I used to. That means that everything is changing for you, and that you're shifting in your frequency, you're evolving into a higher state of consciousness, and you're evolving into the layers of consciousness, which is a pretty profound experience. The layers of consciousness are limitless, and there's just so much goodness that can come from that. You're open. You're more open to experiencing the greatness that you're here to live, instead of feeling suppressed by society and by humanity and by cultural and systematic belief systems that really you don't connect with and felt forced. So when you're purging all that, of course, you're letting go of toxicity. So you're going to have symptoms of being sick, but you're not sick. So it's pretty amazing. The alignment within your purpose does happen naturally for most people, but what can get in the way is if you keep avoiding it or hold on to fear and tell yourself that that is not who you are. For example, I never thought, in all honesty, that I would be doing what I do for a living, which I don't even feel that it's work. I feel that I'm so blessed and honored to be able to be entrusted with the access to connect into anyone and to be able to help them in life in co-creation with the creators and the archangels. And to me, it is such an amazing honor to be able to do this, but I never thought that this was going to be my path. I actually used to have a lot of fears about how am I going to take care of my family? How are we going to be able to financially support our family? We have 3 children, and it's just something that I had to work through and gain trust in my intuition. And there was just so much communication between me and my team, because I physically see them and I hear their voices and not in my own voice. And it was just so much that there's no way it couldn't be true. You know, and the other honest truth that I love to see when I connect with a student or a client is when I support them in this process to open up and to connect with who they really are and what they love in life, which is connected to their purpose. I love seeing when they make that connection and they just feel more themselves than they have in at all, basically. It's just such a beautiful process. And there are so many ways to figure out what your purpose is, but a soul contract reading is a great way to do it. It's just, I really do love to see when I work with someone and they connect with what they love to do and how in doing what they love, they can be of service to others and be of service to themselves. But they have to work on themselves first, and they have to do the process of healing from this life, and what their soul came here to do will align naturally. And it's amazing too when you see someone connect with their past lives or connect with things that they've experienced in this life and how it was traumatizing to them. That is all connected to prior experiences in other lifetimes or experienced in other realms that they came here on Earth, where it's the most challenging environment to live life and to go through emotionally, physically, mentally what you came here to do. So it's a beautiful process. It is a divine time, though, as we are in the stages of New Earth, which is seen through how we see life, how we connect with our truth, and remembering who we are. The veil is lifted when you keep connecting to your truth and you don't hold on to anger, you don't have frustration about it, you learn how to heal yourself from it and really understand that that's just a part of who you are and it's what you came here to experience. You start to karmically cleanse and heal. So massive purging of karmic energy began actually last November, and as of January 1st, we established basically a new cycle of life. And it's about time, because there are a lot of people that have been held to poverty clauses, illness clauses within their contract. And there's so many other types of clauses. But when they have been held to experience that in life and really go through some tough and challenging times, it's not surprising when since November I've heard people say, I used to have so much trouble with money, and now I feel like I'm connected with what I'm supposed to do, and money is coming my way because I no longer focus on it or have fear about it. And it's because a lot of poverty clauses were lifted for so many. I even had a poverty clause in my contract. So, that's not easy to go through, but it really is the challenge of working on the fear, the anxiety, the stress, anything that's going to trigger a reaction in you that's going to challenge you in life. It's better to develop healthier ways to get through it and to connect to the truth about it, because really, as human beings, when we connect to the truth about it, it is so amazing. It's like a flip of a switch. We just feel so much better, and it's as if we can just move on and start doing more in life. So karmically healing is happening all year long and will continue to happen as more and more human beings awaken. The other part that we have going on with people connecting to their divine purpose is children are awakening. Children are coming in tune to their divine gifts and experiencing anxiety on all levels. I have 3 children that experience anxiety, and they each have, unfortunately, a similarity to how severe my anxiety used to be. I have a friend who had told me that I was the most sensitive person she had ever met when it came to energy, when it came to what I felt. And I do find that commonality in many women, actually. There are some men that I've come across that, yes, they experience that too, but all children on some level are experiencing anxiety, stress, fears. And what I love to teach children is the truth about energy, for them to break that barrier of what they're experiencing and seeing, and to understand their gifts and what they're actually connecting to. My youngest is extremely sensitive to energy, and she actually can read people very easily. She doesn't know she's doing it, but she will wake up in the middle of the night crying and feel pressure in her chest. She'll have a hard time sleeping, and it goes in waves depending on the energy and how full the moon is, and what's really going on with the universe and what humanity is being called to acknowledge at that time. She's very sensitive to earth and all those things, as all children are. But we have so many people that just don't know that. They think, oh my gosh, what's wrong? Why are they so upset? Why can't they sleep? Something must be wrong. And then there's medication happening, or there's sleeping medicine happening. And honestly, I can work with any age, but working with my own children and teaching them how to ground themselves has really, really helped. We get balanced, we calm our energy, we work really hard to understand the terminology and the communication from the archangels and the creators. And it's second nature to them. Once you open up, it's just second nature. It's just so easy. But the only thing that gets in the way is if you have any beliefs, no, I don't do this, or this is not what I thought was going to happen in life. When you have those kind of beliefs, that means that you're not open to it. And that creates more opportunities actually to teach you. So there's going to be more teaching for you to go through. And that could be you being sensitive to energy. That could be seeing flashes out of the corner of your eye. It could be stress. It could be anxiety sensitivities. And, the other thing that I think is really important to understand too is that those that are very sensitive to energy typically have food allergies or illness. And when they learn, like I did myself, that they have illness or food sensitivities, and they start listening to their intuition of what not to eat, and they start taking themselves either off medication slowly or getting help for it and honoring their energy, learning how to channel the divine energy that's coming through them, whether it's a loved one, a friend, or someone coming through for someone else, they start to experience this amazing balance within. And that balance comes through to support us on our path. So a big part of learning that is learning how to balance the divine masculine and divine feminine energy within us, because you'll notice that divine masculine energy gets manipulated when stress, anxiety, fear, anger, pain, past memories, past experiences are not healed. So it becomes a very dominant energy on the inside, and there's chaos. So in order to calm that and be balanced with your Christ consciousness, balance with the energy that's coming through you, to honor and love yourself with the divine feminine energy, that takes a little bit of practice, but then it's second nature, and it's easier, and you can start to heal. And that's what people are really doing right now. It's about, we need to continue to heal earth and continue to support the positive and divine light that is channeled into earth, the golden light that's coming into earth. And in order to do that, we have to balance ourselves. We have to eat right and take care of ourselves and trust in what we know for ourselves. It's really something that so many are feeling called to do. It's not just about the divine feminine, but it is about the balance of both. And when you balance both within, you're able to balance both on the outside. You're able to help balance Earth. And that will support everybody in walking the higher path towards unity consciousness, creating that rainbow tribe here on Earth where we're all one and we all support and love of each other and let each other live the life that feels right to each person, without judgment, without intimidation, without fear or control or chaos. And we're moving there pretty quickly. So it's a beautiful part of the process of all, but it really, even though I've talked about so much, it really does begin with not thinking that you're selfish and needing to help yourself. Because living with stress or anxiety or fear and having that dual purpose of being a balanced human being and being of service to others, they go hand in hand together. So when you learn about how to help yourself, you're better able to let go of everything that no longer serves and walk your highest vibrational path. And that's what I love. That's what I love, is seeing someone not be afraid of the energy that they're channeling, not be afraid of what they feel, and connecting to the truth about the abuse or the trauma that they've experienced in life and understanding who they really are. And then moving towards understanding their soul and remembering why they came here. That's what I love. I felt so grateful when I connected to the actual conversation that I had with the Creator and with Gaia, to come here into the earth plane and to go through abuse. It felt very acknowledging, but the thing about it is most people don't, they almost feel bad to make changes in their life and to let go of the people that caused abuse, or to let go of the genetic relationships where there was so much negativity and abuse or manipulation, and part of that is actually a part of the path that you've chosen. It was a part of my path, and it was something that was very hard for me to do, something that I put off doing because I did not want to hurt anyone. And I love everyone so much, but I also had to do what felt right to me and trust that it was going to be for the best. And I know what that's like. So I know when I'm telling someone, this is what you're being guided to do for you because this is what you contracted to do, I understand emotionally what that experience is like. And so I can better support them. But in being here, we all are here to live out unique purposes in different ways. It may be that you work at the grocery store, or that you have your own small business, or that you're a teacher, or you love animals. No matter what it is that you choose for your career, you are divinely being balanced and supported by your team, by the creators, Gaia and God. And you're here to live your purpose in the way that feels right to you, and you have to trust that. You may be called to a different purpose at another time in this life, but you have to start somewhere. So a lot of the time I tell people, look at all the interests and all the things that you love to do. Look at all the ways that you can share your purpose with others. Look at how you can help others. And a lot of the time what I find is that even though it is hard to do the inner soul work that we're here to do, it is challenging to focus on ourselves sometimes, and we sometimes are feeling like it's selfish, or that people are going to think we don't care about them. And that's just not true. If that's the way they think, then that's a reflection of themselves. And that's not something that you're responsible to fix or rescue or save. And so if we get caught up in those things, then we kind of put our purpose on hold a little bit. And the thing about it is, it's always there. It's always there, because divine love and divine truth are always accessible. but it is just up to us to be able to take responsibility for that and choose what's right for us at that time. And it doesn't have to be done in a negative way or with anger or frustration. It can be done in the way that feels right to you. But when you do something honestly and with truth and love, then there's nothing mean or negative about it. So it's important to remember that too, and to remember that you came here to remember who you are. So in everything that you do with your energy, you are aligning with your purpose in a multitude of ways, in multidimensional ways. And it's pretty humbling to go through, and it's such a beautiful process to learn to love yourself, because that opens you up more to be able to be of service to others. So, that's why I love my purpose. I love teaching, but I also have a purpose to create with my energy in different ways, not just to create courses and to teach people, but to bring people together. And, that's not something that I thought I would ever be doing. So, once again, getting over that kind of thought that, oh, I didn't think I'd be doing that. Are you sure? Am I hearing this right? Those kind of thoughts can hold me back. But when I have them, I also know that that's my team's way of saying to me, Amy, you have to honor who you are. We've been down this road before, and you have to trust yourself and know that what you're being guided to and what you feel is right for you is really what's going on right now, and really what you're being tuned into. So that's something that I love. But it is such an honor to be able to connect with others and to really help them heal too. I love energy healing, and I love teaching others how they can tap into their own healing abilities. I'm pretty sure that there are so many souls who volunteered to come here to Earth to be high vibrational healers, who channel that divine energy and also are able to give of counseling to others and be able to help them to organize things as to, what do I need to let go of and what is really best for me. That's where a lot of humanity is right now. And you can, I always tell everyone, don't quit your day job. Do what you do until you feel that you know what direction or what the next steps are to take to change your career path. But be grateful and honor the fact that you have a job supporting you right now, creating an income for you and for your family. And don't quit anything. Allow yourself the time to learn about what's going on inside you, to make sense of it, to learn techniques and tools that are going to help you the most, and trust your path, to learn to trust it. A lot of people don't see or hear spirit like I do. They don't see their team. They might experience feathers, or they might see butterflies, or they may have this pressure in their head and feel their crown vibrating and feel vibrations all over their body, or they may get really heated all the time or nervous and channel energy, or feel called to write beautiful messages and channel divine energy to help people with their lives. But it's not a good time to just quit your job or to let go of the path that you had taken to get where you are. There's a lot of gratitude for that path that you've walked to get to where you are. And there's a lot of healing to take place too, to be able to move forward in that new direction. But it's really important to just allow those things to happen naturally, and then to be able to create and manifest what you want your life to look like, and allow those next steps to fall into place for you. So that's a big portion. Even though I said a lot in the time here, that is a huge portion of what I do when I connect with someone, whether they are a student or a client. And it's everything that I did for myself. And I didn't do it alone. I had the beautiful synchronicity of being honored with people that supported me on my path along the way, just as everyone does. And ultimately, though, I had to love myself and love the relationship with myself. And then everything fell into place and started opening up, but it wasn't always easy. And it was a lot of hard work and experiencing a lot of changes that were very much out of my control. So if you're going through that, I totally understand. And I know it feels chaotic. And if you're going through anxiety or stress or fears about money, fears about your living situation, I understand what that's like too. I've been through that in life and I don't know it all. And admitting those things really helps. It really makes everything seem like it's not so hard, actually, because we tend to feel like, oh, why do I keep experiencing this? Or what's going on? You know, why am I different than everybody else? Or why do I stand out? Or why don't relationships work for me? Or why do I have a hard time with friendships? You know, all of those things are happening for a reason. And it's not always about blaming yourself or connecting to the things you went through in life that were really hard and creating shame or blame on yourself. It's really about making those connections and sometimes seeing that you're at a totally different frequency than other people. And there's such a beautiful and positive reason for that. So I do love when someone connects with the fact that, okay, so, you know, I have these friends, but I don't really connect with them and I feel kind of different from them and they all kind of come to me at times. But I think I get it now. It's not about being better than anyone. It's not really actually about being different, but it is actually about what you came here to do and why you are the friend in that group that does feel unlike everybody else, or does connect with things unlike everybody else, or always counsels people, or knows how to guide them, knows how to help them to trust their own intuition and not to keep reliving things. So another good reason to honor your gifts and honor your intuition and to be able to trust your path. You know, if you're experiencing those things, then you're being called to honor your purpose. And your purpose is not always going to be that you're a medium or supposed to step into healing, but it is that you need to learn about yourself and gain perspective and start purging and learning about the truths. What is true to you and what is not? What are the falsehoods that you no longer believe in, that you've held on to, or that you live up to because you're worried about hurting others or, you know, disappointing someone? Those things all are very teaching and telling to guide us to our purpose. It's also a matter of fact that every single human being on the planet is capable of connecting and communicating in some way, interpreting communication, and also is capable of healing. But those gifts opening up, you have to work hard to get there by getting through the things in life. It may not feel like hard work to you if it feels natural, but if you limit yourself in some way, then it may feel kind of hard. But that's why there's support. There's people like myself. And that's what I love to do, is to show people, I know you thought this was going to be really hard, but here's your truth. This is what you've connected to. Look how beautiful that is. And look how hard you did work to get to this point. And that's, you know, that's a huge portion of life, struggling with challenges and fears and chaos and expectations from people. But it's all in an effort to teach us about our purpose and what we're here for. So I love helping people to honor that, but also to let go of any judgment and to release themselves of obligations that don't work for them. I love to help people align and learn to love themselves. I mean, that's like the greatest thing ever. And learning about your truth, I mean, how can that not be amazing? You know?
Thank you, Amy.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Myrna.
No, it has been a really, really good time, hearing you.
I think I
After
might have
this,
covered a lot, but I hope that was okay.
we can always come back and, have you one more time.
Well,
I'm
that would
pretty
be
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is gonna be a good decision. We're gonna go with the Q&A section. Before
awesome.
going there, there is something that we want to remind our audience that if you want to help Mindalia TV reach other people like you to have access to all the knowledge that we share, there's a couple of things you can do just by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, or leaving us a positive comment down below. You help us reach as much people as possible through this platform. Amy, we're gonna go to the Q&A section. Okay, you ready?
Great.
Sounds awesome. The first question we have here says, why is it that we don't know what our soul's purpose is? Wouldn't that be easier if we knew?
It would be easier, but then there wouldn't be actually a lot to work towards if everything came right away. The whole important part of living a human life is getting to experience what seems like things for the first time. And it actually is changing with the veils being lifted for everyone who perceives their life that way or is connecting into a higher vibrational energy more naturally. And children coming in the next coming years and onward will be coming with less of a veil. It will lift sooner. But those of us before we moved from the old paradigm and moved into the new paradigm, the new earth of the golden age of Gaia and Gaia consciousness, there was a veil that was necessary to experience because there were so many souls who volunteered and agreed to come into Earth before last year and endure abuse or endure really difficult circumstances that most people probably wouldn't even want to hear about. And that was all actually to raise the vibration of Earth, to have people step into their knowing much sooner. So it's just been a part of the contracted process for humanity, really. And I know it sounds silly because it's, I get this question a lot. Then why do we have to go through that? And I honestly, I don't know it all. So I don't really honestly know the answer, but I think that it had to be that way to break genetic cycles of abuse and genetic cycles of negativity and anger and illness. So I think that it had to be that way for some reason.
Thank you, Amy.
Yes.
The next question says, does absolutely everyone has a purpose?
Yes, absolutely. Everyone has a purpose. It is just that some people have a purpose through their career. Some people have a greater purpose to guide thousands and thousands of people to do lots of healing. Some of it is spiritually connected. Some of it is in, the political arena to correct and heal the political arena. I say this all the time to people, especially since last year, that, there has been so much talk, and I don't normally get into the political drama because it's really not my interest or zone. But there has been so much negativity created towards many people in the political arena. And I think of it differently. I think of it as, look at what they agreed to come here and do to not have a normal life, not have a life of a lot of joy and happiness without the stress, without the anger, or being a villain for people. I always think of that because, it can't be easy to come to Earth and to go through a life of chaos and destruction. There is just so much negativity surrounding a lot of humanity. And I think if we all had a different perspective about seeing all humans as souls, I think it would change everything. And more people are learning to do that, but it's very slow. You know, there's still a lot of judgment out there. And I think when we understand that there are so many different ways to have purpose, we all do have a purpose. It's just, it's not about good versus bad or anything like that. And it's not always directly connected to spirituality. So, you know, for some people, it has to do with their job and what they're doing and what a kind and wonderful and loving person or generous person that they are to others, or as being a mom to some, you know, to someone, a child, or to children that are not your own, or, you know, in being kind and generous to people.
Thank you, Amy.
Yeah.
Next question. Can you please repeat what you said about what started in November?
Okay, so in November, we began purging and karmically healing. This year and going forward is all about karmic cleansing and the karma release. So in November, there was much to do with, as we neared towards winter, for, you know, much of the world, as we neared towards winter. Just as in winter, we see things, you know, kind of freeze over or get colder, and there is not as much growth. It was time to purge and let go and sort of experience a death of things that we were experiencing in life, letting them go and moving in a new direction. And part of being able to move in a new direction without any poverty clauses in our soul contracts is to be able to karmically heal, because we take energy from our prior lifetimes into the earth plane. It's all connected into our soul DNA, and we access it sometimes unknowingly for a multitude of humanity, I think. But we access it through flashbacks and memories or experiences when we connect with another person and we just know we've experienced a lifetime with them. It reactivates some of the energy from other lifetimes. So a karmic cleansing was very necessary to help people have a fresh start and to start to live in a new way so that more people can awaken and connect with being balanced in their divine feminine and divine masculine energy.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
The next one says, how did you learn about the Akashic records?
You know, I wasn't expecting to learn about them. I didn't even know what they were, but I would wake up sometimes in the middle of the night, or when my girls were napping, I would usually start to write my gratitude to my team of spirits. It was typically Archangel Metatron. And I would just sit down and just write all that I was so grateful for. And there was a lot of emotion that came up. But then it was as if something took over me, and I started seeing in gold lettering in my mind a book and a description, pages basically of lifetimes I had lived. And then I would be drawn to thinking about, for example, my husband or my brother or a friend of mine. And I would start tapping into information about them and learning about past lives they had lived and how the information would help them now. And then I would tell them about it. But I actually didn't know I was doing that until Archangel Metatron, I had asked him, I said, what am I reading? What is this? And he said, oh, it's your Akashic records. And I said, why am I reading this? He said, because you have a lot to learn about yourself and to stop being so hard on you. So it was a process, but I eventually believed it, even though I kind of didn't want to at the time because it meant such a heavy sense of responsibility for me. I feel like I'm entrusted and honored to receive this sacred divine information And it's a privilege, and I honor that. I don't just go reading people's Akashic records, but it was happening to teach me, because the people that I was connecting to, or even myself or them, it was something that would really help them. So, it just was a part of my process.
Wow, you are so brave.
I don't know if I'm brave or if I've just fallen into feeling like myself and trusting my team and letting go enough to not have any fear. You know what I mean?
Well, that is being brave.
I guess, yeah. I just never thought of myself like that, but thank you.
Yeah, I think that there's so many people that they encounter themselves in situations like those and they just avoid them.
Yeah, I mean, I think they do that though, in all honesty, because it's a fresh experience in this lifetime, and it's something that feels like private information about somebody else. But when you know it's about yourself, and you learn that there's some connection to this lifetime that needs to be healed, then it makes it all the well worth it. It's just that a lot of people have to work past their fear and perception of energy, of not thinking of spirit or energy as like ghosts, or as somebody's in my private space. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go with the next one. It's funny. It says, "Are we hiding from what we really are, or is our higher self hiding from us?"
No, many people are hiding from their higher selves. There's a heavy process of authentication going on. And, as you step more into your truth and you listen to it and you honor it, you authenticate more of that higher knowing and energy of your highest vibration. And as it recalibrates into your energy, you level up in frequency. And a lot of people are hiding from that, because what happens is we have symptoms in our body, or we get headaches, or there comes up, old fears that we weren't aware that we still had, about either getting sick or not having enough money or being alone, just different things. And we tend to be kind of hard on ourselves. So, when something like that happens, I find that people are very leery, and they just want to know that it's okay and that they're going to be safe. And that is a process of growing and expanding your perception of needing to be safe. I used to block my solar plexus all the time, and I was sensitive everywhere I went. I would get nauseous all the time. And I was I would feel so much anxiety. So I had to learn to get through that and find a way that worked for me. But then as soon as I started connecting with truths and seeing all humans as souls, it was as if I just did not need to block myself. And it was as if I believed I was protected no matter what. So there was nothing to be afraid about. So that's how I opened up to more information and to receiving all of my highest self. And anybody can do that, in all honesty. Anybody can. It's just, I see the archangels, I see Gaia and God. I connect with them in a different way than anybody I've ever known. And not that, that makes me different or anything, but it's just who I am. And that was reassurance enough for me.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Let's go with the next one. Let me see. How can someone connect to the Akashic records?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I do sessions where I teach people to connect with the Akashic records. And at least 90% of the time, it has to do with you grounding your energy and anchoring your soul energy into earth, bringing it back up, and working through the thoughts that you have on your mind, such as what you have to do next, or such as, an appointment you have, or worrying about someone that you love. It's about acknowledging those things that are coming into your mind, and then learning to set them aside in your mind as if you'll acknowledge them, but you're going to work with them later. And then I guide everyone to connect into the creators, Mother Earth and Gaia, or Mother Earth, Gaia, and God. And I support them in what it takes to say how to call in that divine information and be given access. Now, it just depends, but some people do not have access to the information of the hierarchy. There is a section of information that is the Akashic records of like all the archangels, the ascended masters, and of Gaia and God. And not everybody has access to the golden records. It's more the records about, you know, someone, like if you have a client and you want to learn to read your records for your clients, that's different. So, but I teach pretty much only high vibrational channeling to everybody. I work really hard with people to teach them how to balance themselves first and get used to that. And they can learn to read their own information, but, and then they can work towards a higher vibrational reading of the Akashic records, but it just takes time. And I don't know if you're capable or what level you're really at until I connect with you and you know, read your information and do a session with you. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let's go with the next one. Let me see. Oh, the Akashic records, they hold information about humanity only or other creatures as well?
The Akashic records that I know is about not just cosmic information and earth information or souls on earth or earth itself, but the Akashic records that I am tuned into is about other realms, other energies, galactic information, quantum information, and information of all that is. So that's the way that I work, but I can't speak for anyone else who does Akashic records. It may be different for them.
Okay.
I did not take a course to do this. The Archangels taught me. So, you know, that's all I have to go. I didn't even know they had courses until I ran into someone at a fair and she said, "Oh, I took a course to do this." And I was like, "Oh, that's really exciting," you know, but I didn't know that they had that. So,
oh, okay. That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. How do we know if someone from this life is in the same contract with us?
Well, anyone that you're connected to, from even the smallest connection to the biggest connection, whether it's a close family member or not, anyone you come in contact with, people you walk past at the grocery store, it is all contracted. Everything.
Okay.
I hope that answers that. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I think it was very precise. Let's see. Our life gets better if we know about our contract.
It does help to know about your soul contract and what you agreed to. I do run into often that you know, clients know that they agreed to certain things, but they want an explanation for them. So all I can do is try to understand what's going on with them at this time and how what they agreed to is being experienced here on earth, and to be able to help them to connect with that truth.
Okay, thank you.
Does that make sense?
It makes at least to me.
Okay. Okay.
I'm pretty sure that you know, and it depends on the people, but usually when we understand why something is happening, we are more at ease with it, right?
Yeah, we're able to just know within ourselves that it's right and trust ourselves, because when something feels right, you don't have any questions about it, really. You just trust it and you're able to understand, which opens you up to more.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
We're almost done, but there's 3 more. Okay.
Sure.
How do we connect to the team? Everybody has a team?
Everybody has a team of spirits. Some people it's very natural, and for those that it's extremely natural, that means that they are being brought through the layers of learning to communicate through mediumship, and then on to healing eventually. It's all about divine timing and about what was agreed on in your soul contract to go through, which I'm not always privy to that exact information, because that creates like a ticking time bomb of expectations instead of letting life happen naturally and learning about yourself. But yes, everyone is capable. It's just a matter of, what did you really come here for, and what are you still working through? Because once you're able to work through those things, it does open you up more. And the other thing that I know that's currently happening for so many is they open up when someone passes away. Someone close to them passes or moves into the afterlife, and then they are, for some reason at that time, contracted to open up, and they start having anxiety or being sensitive to energy. But that doesn't always mean that they're a medium. It does mean that they're able to communicate. The majority of what is being called for on Earth right now is healers, and in order to step into your healing abilities, communication and counseling is a part of the service that you offer people. So, it's just a process, and everyone is different in the way that they experience it, and then move forward with it.
Thank you.
Sure.
When did you start getting in contact with the higher beings? Were you scared?
I honestly wasn't scared. I remembered them from when I was little, but I didn't know who they were. I hadn't heard of the Archangels. I honestly just knew they were familiar to me, and they always provided such confirmation for me that I was safe, and that they loved me endlessly, and that they had been with me for a long time. But I didn't make sense of that until I was in my early 30s, and a friend actually told me, I think you're gifted, or you're a medium. And I was terrified at that point to admit that I had been experiencing things, and I had this belief in me, because of the things I had struggled with in life, that no one would believe me. And I was also raised Catholic. And so doing this, what I was doing, channeling or feeling energy or communicating with people that were not in this world, that was kind of a no-no, and I wanted to learn about this first before I told anybody about it. So for almost 18 months, I did not talk with anybody about it, not even my husband.
Wow, it must have been a very interesting journey, Amy.
It's been one for the books. Let's just say that. It's been
The
one for
last,
the books.
yeah, the last question we have here, it says, can someone's purpose be hurting others so they can grow?
A long time ago, I think that was the case, to create a way to break genetic cycles of abuse that have been going on for a long time. We're talking about sexual abuse, molestation, incest, things like that, or even physical abuses that were going on genetically. A lot of that, from my understanding, it was contracted that there was abuse, but the one thing that I think humans were missing for such a long time was making the connection to change, to admit their mistakes, and to say sorry for the things that they had done. And I think that now there's a big turning point with that, where people are learning, what happened wasn't okay, and how to heal from that. And there is a big separation, because we have so many living ascended masters here on Earth at this time. And those who have a birth number of 11 or 22, or 1 or a 2, or even a 4, according to, numerology, They are here to break cycles of genetic issues, cycles of toxicity in the world, and to heal others and heal Earth. But they have to heal themselves first. So I do think a long time ago that it was contracted that way, but I think that there's a misunderstanding with certain things, that Earth was an experiment and still is. Earth is not perfect. And the fact that people are able to make so many big decisions on this planet and with other people's lives at stake, or being entrusted with other people's lives and not being able to actually care for them properly, or, raise people properly. I think that has been part of the problem to cause the stopping of abuse. But people from my generation definitely came into this world. Usually if you're a last child in the family, you came into the world to break these genetic behaviors and cycles. And so I don't really know the answer totally, but I do think that some negative behavior was definitely contracted. It just didn't have to continue like that. People could have made different choices along the way and stopped it, or admitted truths. I'm sorry for what I did, or I shouldn't have done that, and I don't know why. I couldn't control myself, or I was angry because that's the way my parents treated me, or you know what I mean? There's just so many things, and that's why it's important to learn to see humans as souls on their own journey. It's just hard.
Thank you, Amy.
Yeah, definitely.
And to close, before we say goodbye, why, according to your knowledge, why is this happening, in this time, in this era, in this year in which we are right now? What is going on? Why are there so many awakened people at this time? And what changed in Earth that we are starting this cycle of awakening?
Well, over 30 years ago, Mother Earth began evolving and expanding into a healthier state to heal and correct the toxicity that had been created within Earth itself. And what has been created within humans was a mirroring effect to how Earth was treated. Okay, so to heal Earth properly and to move into a new way of living, so that future generations will never have to go through what most of us went through to get where we are now. It was the divine timing aspect, and it's about Earth really evolving and everyone rising into their highest vibration. It was just needed. I mean, humanity suffering and people coming in and having these really hard, challenging lives, it needed to be done that way, but it also needs to stop. So it's really about us becoming one together and learning to live in unity, and learning how to let others be who they are. And that is something that means people have to change their behaviors and discipline their thoughts, and own up to their responsibility in things, but also learn how to take better care of themselves with eating and water and how they nurture Earth. I mean, it's time for things to change.
Yes, we think so too.
Yes.
As we reach the end of today's broadcast, we want to first thank you, Amy, for sharing with us. That was amazing. It's excellent knowledge. And we want to remind our audience that Mindalia TV is a nonprofit organization. Our only mission is just to spread around the world the message of solidarity and to help raise the level of consciousness. That is why we do this, and you can help us do it just by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, or leaving us a positive comment down below, even sharing one of these videos with someone that you know that is gonna, be enjoying or growing by receiving these. You are helping us too to change the world and to, just as I said, raise the level of consciousness. Amy, before we leave, we want you to say goodbye and leave us with a positive comment too, with an advice.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm truly just so honored. Thank you for having me. And what a beautiful surprise in life. I wasn't expecting this. And if I could just recommend one thing, just don't be afraid to remember who you are and love the process. Don't go against it, embrace it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. And to our audience, then goodbye. And we'll see you next time in Mindalia live streaming. Have a good day.